Hi guys, I'd just like to take a few minutes to talk about my accident from about 10 years ago. So as I've mentioned in some of my videos, I talk about effects that I've had from the accident. So basically what I had was a TIA, or a mini stroke. So this can last from minutes to hours, and even though it's not a actual stroke that can last longer, it can still affect you, and you need to seek medical help immediately. Me, I was in my 20s. I'm pretty sure the doctors didn't think me having a stroke was possible. So the night I started feeling the stroke, and I didn't connect it, was the night before I ended up in the ER. I was like, oh, my vision's kind of funky. So I went to LensCrafters and got a pair of glasses. And the next morning I woke up and I was like, oh, my head hurts. I was getting ready for work. And I was talking to my friend. She's like, oh, your head could hurt because you just got glasses. So I didn't think anything of it. Went to work. I was a professional care assistant for adults with handicaps at the time. And I went to go eat breakfast while I was at work. My client was working at her job, and I had a few minutes and couldn't swallow. So I was kind of freaking out, tried to take a sip of a drink, tried to eat, nothing, couldn't swallow at all. Ended up going home, going to the doctor, and again, I was in like 25, 26 years old. No one thinks you're going to have a stroke at that age. So I went to the doctor. They thought it was Bell's palsy, but they couldn't understand why I couldn't swallow. So I went home, went on medication, whatever. That night, the swallowing was getting worse, just like everything. My head hurt. So this had been going on for almost 24 hours at this point. And I went to the hospital. They didn't really run tests that first night. Then they admitted me and ran tests over the next following days. The swallowing got worse, and one of the things I do regret is not pushing for tests sooner, like that night that I went there. So please be your own advocate and demand things to be done. I feel that I didn't have these tests done in an MRI and brain scan, and maybe it could have prevented me from losing sensation in the right side of my body and the left side of my face. And that is something I do regret to this day. I think about it. I try not to think about it that often, but some of the effects that I got, we've talked about in some of the other videos, as far as me not having feeling on the right side of my body, left side of my face. So for the first several years, I actually had open wounds all over my face. Not only was I blind in the left eye and had corneal issues, I had open wounds. I did not want to be out in public. I did not want to be seen. I did not want to talk to anyone. I went into a deep depression. But I don't think many people know that, because I appeared to be okay. I was down. I was really down. Thankfully, I still don't get those open wounds, and I haven't for a few years. But there is the chance of them always coming back, and that's a big fear. I mean, it's one of my biggest fears. Like if I get a zit and it goes to pop, I kind of freak out that it's just gonna keep expanding. It looked like my nose was eating itself. I had scabs all over, and it was just the left side of my face, not even anywhere else. I have this tiny little scar here because they actually took pieces. At one point they thought it was a staph infection, neurological issues from, not neurological issues, I apologize. Like, okay, yeah, I can't think of the word. But anyways, it was really disheartening, and it was a rough time in my life. And of course, I had people being like, I don't even want to look at her. I don't know if it was just because they were rude and they didn't know what was going on in my life, or they were just overly concerned and it was hard for them to look at. I know my family had an issue with that, and every time something happens to my face, they kind of freak out. So I kind of internalize it and have to tell them, oh, it's going to be okay. because I don't want to risk getting that anything wrong with me again. And I have to think positively, and you all should try and think positively when something bad does happen, because you're gonna get even into a worse depression if you already have depression. And so as far as the right side of my body, I have developed the neuropathy. I like when it first happened, I would get lots of bruises and I would run into things and not even realize it. Now I can feel like pressure. So like if someone is, sorry guys, like touching me, I can feel that. But if my hand was hot or cold, I wouldn't be able to tell. And that is something that is still hard to this day. My brain has kind of adjusted. So if something's cold, it kind of gets the sensation, but if something's hot, like it'll feel like my body, on the right side of my body, it'll feel like when your foot's waking up from being asleep. So it's kind of like that tingling, yucky feeling. And again, we got the eyelid droop, and there's just many things. The right side of my body definitely feels weaker. But again, the whole feeling's messed up. So even trying to get like a massage or something, it's never comfortable in getting different things. But that's a little bit about what happened to me back about 10 years ago. And maybe now you'll understand why I have a few of the other issues that I have. Talk to you later. Bye.